Welcome to the Courtroom Club. Today we're tackling a really common issue, something we see a lot here at Jonker Vorster Attorneys. It's that feeling sectional title owners sometimes get, feeling a bit powerless against their body corporate.
Absolutely. It's a frequent source of stress. We know how confusing and frustrating it can be when you feel like you're not being heard or treated fairly.
Exactly. And the body corporate does have significant responsibilities, which can sometimes feel like, well, unchecked power.
Hmm. But the crucial thing for owners to grasp, and this is key, is that you do have substantial rights. Rights designed specifically to protect your interests.
Right. So our mission in this deep dive, drawing on our firm's experience, is simple: to equip you, the owner, with a really clear picture of those rights. And just as importantly, how you can actually use them if you feel the body corporate isn't, let's say, playing fair.
Okay, sounds good. So maybe let's start with the basics for anyone newer to this. What is a body corporate, essentially?
Good starting point. Think of it as the official management structure for the whole sectional title scheme. But here's the important part. It's not some outside company. It's actually made up of all the individual unit owners, collectively. You're part of it.
Right, it's the collective legal entity. And this entity has some pretty fundamental jobs, doesn't it?
It does. Top of the list is probably maintaining the common property.
Mm,
The hallways, gardens, the pool, lifts,
Yeah.
anything shared.
okay. Maintenance, what else?
And there's enforcing the scheme's rules, making sure everyone follows the agreed upon conduct rules so things run smoothly,
Uh-huh. Rules are important for communal living.
and of course managing the money, collecting levies from owners, paying the bills, and crucially keeping accurate financial records.
And it's often within those responsibilities, maintenance, rules, and money, that disagreements pop up.
Exactly. But like you said, even with that authority, owners aren't just passive bystanders. There's this whole framework of rights.
Let's dig into those. Maybe start with one we see cause a lot of friction: money and financial records. Why is accessing that info so vital?
Well, it boils down to transparency, doesn't it?
Right.
It's your money paid through levies that funds everything the body corporate
So
does.
you need to see how it's being spent.
Precisely. You have a fundamental right to request and actually review the financial statements, see the budgets, understand how levy money is allocated.
And the body corporate has an obligation to keep those records clear and available.
Yes, absolutely. Transparent record keeping is non-negotiable. It builds trust and stops owners feeling like things are happening behind closed doors, financially speaking.
What should owners look out for? Any sort of red flags when they do get those documents?
Good question. Look for big jumps in costs without clear explanation, vague budget lines, large spending that wasn't discussed or approved.
Right. Things that just don't seem to add up.
Exactly. If something looks off, you have the right to ask why and ask for the proof, the invoices, the details.
Okay. And linked to that is the levy itself.
Yeah.
What if an owner feels their levy amount is just wrong or unfairly high?
Yeah, levies can be a huge point of contention. The key thing is they must be calculated fairly, usually based on your unit's participation quota, often linked to its size.
So it shouldn't be arbitrary.
Definitely not. If you think your levy is off, your first step is formal. Ask the trustees, in writing, for a detailed explanation of how they reached that figure.
And if that explanation doesn't satisfy you, or they don't provide one, then you escalate. You have the right to take the dispute to the Community Schemes Ombud Service, CSOS. They're set up specifically to handle these kinds of issues.
CSOS. Okay, good to know there's a formal route.
They can investigate, mediate, and make rulings on levy fairness. It's a really important avenue for owners.
Right. Now, moving away from just the financials,
Mhm.
what about the big decisions? How much say do owners get how this scheme is run overall?
A lot, actually. Through voting rights at general meetings, AGMs, special general meetings, these are where the big calls are made.
Like what sort of calls?
Approving the annual budget, deciding on special levies for major projects, changing the scheme's rules. These typically require owner votes.
So the trustees, the managing committee, they can't just unilaterally decide to, say, repaint the whole complex and slap everyone with a massive special levy.
Generally, no. Major decisions, especially those with significant financial implications like a large special levy, usually need owner approval via a specific resolution at a meeting. It's a crucial check and balance.
Okay, that's reassuring. What about rules? We all live by them, but what if they feel unfair or worse, applied unfairly?
Another common flashpoint: The body corporate does enforce the rules, but, and this is critical, that enforcement has to be fair, reasonable, and consistent for everyone.
Not just picking on certain people.
Exactly. You have the right to dispute rules you think are unreasonable or penalties that seem excessive, especially if they clash with the main legislation, the sectional title's Schemes Management Act.
So if you feel like you're being singled out, or a rule itself doesn't make sense,
Again, first step is usually talking to the trustees, outlining why you think it's unfair. But if that fails, CSOS can also look into rule disputes, whether the rule itself is valid and whether it's being enforced fairly.
it seems CSOS comes up quite a bit as a backstop.
It's designed to be that accessible dispute resolution body for community schemes, yes.
Okay. And the people actually doing the managing day-to-day, the
Right.
trustees.
Yeah.
What about holding them accountable?
Very important. Trustees are elected by the owners, usually from among the owners, so they are directly accountable to the owners. Meaning owners have the right to question their actions, to demand explanations for decisions. And if things really go wrong, owners have the power to remove trustees who aren't acting properly.
Remove them. How does that work?
If there are serious concerns, maybe mismanagement, acting outside their mandate, not acting in the scheme's best interest, owners can call for a special general meeting specifically to address those concerns. And at that meeting, through a vote, owners can actually remove trustees they've lost confidence in.
Wow. Okay. So there is a mechanism if the leadership itself is the problem.
Yes, it's a fundamental right ensuring good governance. Trustees aren't untouchable.
Right. So we've covered these key rights: financial access, fair levies, voting power, fair rules, and trustee accountability.
Pretty comprehensive when you lay it all out.
Now, let's maybe talk about the common battlegrounds, the specific disputes we at Jonker Vorster see cropping up again and again.
Levy disputes are definitely high on the list. Like we touched on, unexpected heights, special levies pushed through without proper approval, sometimes even suspicion about where the money's actually going.
Misuse of funds? Yeah.
Yeah,
Often linked back to that lack of transparency we discussed.
precisely. Then there's maintenance and repairs. Huge area for disagreement.
Like the body corporate not fixing things on the common property. Leaky roofs, broken gates.
Exactly. Neglecting essential maintenance that affects everyone. Or the flip side, maybe charging an owner for a repair they believe is the body corporate's responsibility, like a pipe in a shared wall.
Yeah, those dividing lines can be tricky. Common property versus inside the unit.
They can be. Clear communication and understanding the scheme's plans are key there.
And the third big one must be rules again.
Rules enforcement, yes. The classic selective enforcement complaint, feeling like one owner gets away with something while another gets fined for the same thing.
Or fines that just seem way out of proportion to whatever the rule break was.
It all comes back to that need for fairness and consistency. People accept rules more readily, even ones they don't love, if they feel everyone's treated the same.
Okay, so if you, listening now, find yourself in one of these spots, levy issue, maintenance hassle, unfair rule situation, what's the practical path forward? First steps.
First, always try direct engagement. Talk to the trustees. Better yet, put your concerns clearly and politely in writing.
Why writing?
It creates a record, shows you formally raised the issue. And often, a written query prompts a more formal, considered response than just a casual chat.
Makes sense. What if that doesn't work? Or the issue affects lots of owners?
Then you might request a general meeting, or for the issue to be put on the agenda of the next AGM. Get it discussed openly by all owners. Maybe vote on a resolution.
Okay, try talking, try a formal meeting, and if you're still stuck,
That's the point to formally lodge a dispute with CSOS. They have the processes conciliation, adjudication to force a resolution if internal efforts fail.
right. Now there's one specific, quite aggressive tactic we sometimes hear about that needs addressing head-on: electricity disconnection.
Yes. Let's be absolutely crystal clear on this. It is illegal for a body corporate or their managing agent to cut off your electricity supply because you owe levies, full stop.
Illegal, so they simply cannot do it.
They cannot. The only entities in South Africa legally allowed to disconnect your electricity for non-payment are the municipality, or Eskom, depending on supply, or potentially through a specific court order obtained via proper legal channels regarding the debt itself.
Yeah.
Not just for levies directly.
So if a body corporate threatens this, or worse, actually does it,
Don't stand for it. Your immediate steps should be to lodge an urgent complaint with CSOS. You might also need to seek urgent legal help, potentially an interdict from the court, to get your power restored immediately. It's an unlawful pressure tactic.
good to clarify that so strongly. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. If we had to boil it down, what's the main takeaway? for sectional title owners in 2025 from our chat today?
I think the core message is you have rights, significant ones, covering finances, levies, rules, decision-making, trustee actions. You are not powerless.
Don't just accept unfair treatment.
Exactly. Understand those rights. Know they exist to protect you and your property investment. Knowing your rights is the first step to using them.
And being prepared to use them, whether it's asking questions, requesting meetings, or escalating to CSOS, is vital for keeping things fair in your scheme.
Absolutely. And speaking as part of the team here at Jonker Vorster Attorneys, we want to reiterate that navigating these issues can be complex. If you are facing a dispute, if you feel your rights are being ignored, please reach out. We have the expertise to guide you and advocate for you.
Don't struggle alone. Okay, before we finish, maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to mull over. Considering everything we've discussed, the rights, the potential problems, what do you think is the single most impactful thing an owner can do proactively, day to day or year to year, to help ensure their body corporate runs fairly and effectively? Something to ponder. Thanks for tuning in to the Courtroom Club.